Today on The Nation Speaks, Afghanistan. Amid the chaos, evacuations continue. While we hope for the best, there's grave concern about those who will be left behind. A former interpreter shares the grim reality facing thousands of Afghanis like himself. In America Q&A, we find out if people are worried about inflation. And in 1975, Saigon fell in dramatic fashion. Today, scenes of Afghanis desperately trying to leave feels like 1975 all over again. A war correspondent was in Vietnam. He tells us what's the same and what's not. In our second America Q&A, would it be a good idea to require a mental health test to own a gun? This is a tough time for veterans who served in Afghanistan, so we bring some hope. Our special guest wrote the Veteran Anthem for people like them at a time like this. Hello and welcome to The Nation Speaks. I'm your host, Cindy Drucare. Desperate mass evacuation efforts in Afghanistan make it clear nothing went according to plan. There are multiple tragedies unfolding all at once. Will every American get out? How many Afghan nationals who were promised American protection can we rescue? And what about the future of everyone else under Taliban rule, especially women and girls? One group of Afghanis that gets special mention are the thousands of interpreters, people who were the ears and voices for Americans in the country for over 20 years. They served America, and they were given assurances of help, including special immigration visas for themselves and their families to come to the United States. Now is the time they desperately need to cash in on those promises, but as I said, nothing seems to be going according to plan. With us to discuss in depth the situation of these interpreters and the situation on the ground in Afghanistan is Ahmadullah Sediqi. Ahmadullah, thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
So you served as an interpreter for 4 years in Afghanistan, and you came to the United States in 2014. You're now a special immigrant visa ambassador helping others get their visas with the organization No One Left Behind. So we hear a lot of news in general about these tens of thousands of interpreters like yourself who play such a critical role on the ground in all our efforts in Afghanistan, not just for Americans, but for other allies too. So before we focus on the current situation, I'd like to give our viewers a fuller understanding of what people like yourself did there. So could you start by describing for us your background and how you came to work as an interpreter?
Well, yes, I was an interpreter, a linguist with United States forces in Afghanistan, also working with the DEA from 2010 to 2014. And I applied for the SIV process in 2013, and I was one of the luckiest people who got my visa in 2014 and came to the state.
How did you start doing that work? What was your background? How did it come about?
Well, I was an English instructor back home with few of the institutes down there, while I was also a student. And when I graduated from school, I joined the university, and then I said, okay, since this is a major and also a shared mission for both Afghanistan and the United States, so I wanted to join the U.S. forces for some reasons. One, I wanted to financially support myself, my family, my siblings, and then at least to work with both governments.
And how difficult was it to get the visa to come over to the U.S.? How long did that take?
Well, it wasn't that difficult at first. It took me a year to get my visa. Compared to now, it was way better before.
Okay, so let's move a little bit to the situation right now. We know that there's still thousands of interpreters trying to get out. There's a limited number of visas. They recently expanded that by another 8,000, but they're reaching out to you for help. What can you tell us about the current situation?
Well, the current situation is scary, especially when the Taliban took over the country. And as I always say, the Taliban, they are extremists, and they are the same people that they were in 1996. They don't want to leave anybody. When they catch you, they will kill you. We have witnessed this in the past. Their mentality, their ideology never changed. They don't believe in democracy. They don't believe in women empowerment. We have had great achievement in the past 20 years. We had internet, we had universities, 6 million girls were going to school. We had infrastructures. We believe that they will never change. We know that there were some problems with the government, but overall, we have had a lot of achievements. With the current situation, all the interpreters are so worried and in danger, and they're always complaining. They're always sending us messages, emails through our social media platform, and asking for help to get out of Afghanistan.
So I know there's a backlog in the process, which I suppose if it wasn't such a dire situation wouldn't be a problem. And the embassy also destroyed any passports that they were holding at the embassy. So what does it look like for people who are in process or trying to get in line for their visas right now?
That's a problem. Even the Taliban, they are now, most likely have access to various biometric database. They can find you easily. And most of the people, they trash, they put, they burn their documents while they already applied for the SIV. Now, this is the question whether the U.S. will keep, its promise to expedite and bring all those allies home, because most of them, they do not have the paperwork. They throw it away, or they trashed it, or they put it somewhere. So that's the problem. Everybody should know this, that these folks worked, so now they deserve to be here.
So if the U.S. has biometric data, can't they use that to identify people who legitimately should be able to get out?
Well, with Dallin, no. They even the Taliban go door to door and find out the families. Even they kill the families. We heard the other day they killed 2 interpreters.
And so what's the situation? Are they in hiding? Are they trying to get to the Kabul airport? What's the current situation as far as you know?
Well, as far as I know, there are thousands of people waiting outside the airport. They're trying to get in, but they're not allowed to. There are kids. You see, you might have watched all these on social media. Yes, kids are waiting, women are waiting. They under the sun, and they don't have anything to eat or drink, but they try to get out. It's not only the interpreters, but their families, their siblings, their parents are still waiting in Afghanistan. It's okay, I'm here, but my family, my siblings are in Afghanistan. So that's how we advocate that. We ask the government that bring everybody who have worked with U.S. forces in Afghanistan, and we promise them, it's our moral obligation to keep our promise and bring them back here.
So how is your family doing? Are they at a special risk because you're here and speaking publicly?
Obviously they are at risk. They're hiding. They're going, moving here and there. They don't want to stand in one place. It's not only me, but it's thousands of other interpreters, whose families are still in Afghanistan.